When I first became Muslim, it was definitely a lonely time, but the mosque here has been very influential in me becoming a better Muslim and even meeting people, the social aspects of being a part of the Ummah. The clergy here, the imam here helped me to find a job at a local Islamic school, and it's been such a blessing to me. It's alhamdulillah. I met so many Muslims through working there. Instead of seeing Muslims on a monthly basis, or maybe only when I came to the masjid for Jummah, I started to see Muslims regularly and started to build greater relationships with them. And I started to make my own connections. There's a large Muslim population at my university. And a lot of the sisters there, mashallah, they helped me a lot. When I first began wearing hijab, they helped me to find different scarves. They answered a lot of my questions. They answered the phone when I was frustrated about learning something, or maybe when I was going through some challenges. They've helped me so much. There have been some negative aspects. I believe that at times I did face some racism, but over time, it's just a challenge that I think that you face in any walk of life. I did have to begin to understand that Muslims aren't perfect. As a Muslim, I am nowhere near perfect. We all have the different things that we go through when we're learning and when we're changing, and we all have our struggles and our tests in this world. So it's all about coming together. And I feel overall, now that I'm becoming more known in the community, I do feel that I am more accepted. At the beginning, I didn't necessarily feel that way, but I think that I'm also changing as a person. I think that they're becoming more receptive and open, and I am becoming more open as well. I think that I did have a closed mind at the beginning, and I was sort of defensive and scared about understanding what it's like to be Muslim and meeting different people, but I think that I am becoming more open to the different cultures. One of the challenges that I had is when I first became Muslim, some of the people that I knew, it's kind of, you become bombarded by all of this information and all of the different aspects and what your role has to be as a Muslim. So I just said Shahada. I was teaching myself how to pray. I was learning Quran, and I had people telling me, by the way, this is what you need to wear. And by the way, you can't have nail polish. And oh, you like to sing? Well, Muslim sisters, Muslim women, they can't sing. They can't do these things. You need to get your male friends, you have to get rid of all of them. And it was so overwhelming. I was like, who am I? Who am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? You're telling me that I have to let go of all of these aspects of myself? I think that it can have a large effect on you, and it definitely affected me a lot. I think when we meet converts or we meet people who are Muslim, but they aspire to become closer to the deen and to become stronger in their iman, we can't necessarily judge them and sort of tell them, you have to do all of these things, and sister, you need to change the way you dress, and you need to change the way you talk, and the way you walk, and the food that you eat, and the language that you speak. This can become very overwhelming. I think we need to focus on the core of Islam, which is a love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as our one God, no intercessors, no equals. And as we go along, we can gradually adopt these different things. I started wearing hijab the year that I became Muslim. It wasn't something that I felt pressured to do. It was a decision that I made on my own, and it was mainly a decision based on obedience. I wanted to become more obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It wasn't something that I was necessarily looking forward to. I was terrified. I didn't really have any hijab. I didn't really have any clothing. I didn't have any scarves. But I did it anyway. And it was difficult, and I took it off. I wore it for a week and I took it off. And then about a month later, I tried again and I started wearing it, and I've worn it consistently since then. For me, in America, I don't feel overall that I'm judged for wearing my hijab. I think that if you wear hijab, you definitely have to have a level of confidence where you get to a point where you're so comfortable in wearing it that you forget that you have it on. And I do feel that way. I think that especially in the workplace, you can wear hijab in the workplace. There have been some discrimination cases here where people aren't necessarily as open to it, but I think overall people are open to it here. And I'm not afraid to wear it in front of my family. I'm not afraid to wear it at school in front of my peers. It can be a challenge for some, but overall it's not too difficult. I think the most difficult part of wearing hijab for me is the heat. It's a sunny day today, and it gets really hot in Texas. We hit degrees, especially in the summer and in August, which right now Ramadan is during August, so it's extremely hot at that time. I think last year the weather got up to 109 degrees. So I was wearing hijab and I was very, very hot, and I wanted to take it off. But I didn't. I think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, He made it easier for me after making dua. I think the most beautiful aspect, subhanAllah, about Islam is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. As a Christian, I was always attached to this idea that I couldn't be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless I worshipped Jesus, unless I had this blood and human connection to God because of a sinful nature as a Muslim. I mean, as a Christian, but in Islam, anyone can be accepted to Islam. Anyone can come to Islam and experience the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what we do. Another important aspect that I think is very beautiful in Islam is that Islam challenges you to become a better person. You learn about something in Islam, you learn about an aspect of Islam, and you apply it to your life. And that definitely leads to some internal transformation. Before Islam, and these are the things that I struggle with. I struggle with things such as patience. I struggle with appreciation for the things that I have in my life. I struggle with lust, and I think that Islam has definitely helped me to get rid of these aspects in my life and to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to practice a sense of self-control that I've never had before, and to perceive these things in a different way, and to use these tests as an opportunity to develop myself as a Muslim, and to work towards the good things in this life and in the hereafter, and also to use my struggles to help others and to help inform others. Another aspect that I think is really, really beautiful is the idea of modesty in Islam, and to love God so much that you don't put other things before Him, that He is always the core and nothing else is the core. And I think that Islam gives you the guidelines to do that.